we were able to live fire right from the start. What we chose to do was to do a field training exercise beforehand. And that is to make sure that we have rehearsed our tactics, techniques and procedures so that all our drills are in good order before we go into the live firing. Now we're going into the live firing. What we are doing is we're firing the Mike 31 missiles in Europe in a tactical setting for the first time. They have been fired here before, but not in the same manner in which we're seeking to do. So the rehearsals and the training beforehand really set the conditions for that success. So the M270 is a very important part. It's a growth area for the UK, and the key things for it are its range. What this is able to do is to able to strike targets further out, or you're able to strike targets from further back, making you much more survivable. There is always an element of tension that comes for the first time when you live fire something. So everything becomes a little bit more real for them. Most of my crew have fired these before, but mainly over at different ranges in a very sterile scenario. What we're doing now is engaging different types of targets in a different tactical scenario, in a different environmental conditions.
Well, that rocket will hit a target about 25 kilometres away from here. It will get there in 45 to 50 seconds or so, and those rockets that come out the back of the M270 are accurate to within 5 metres of any given target. It's an extremely impressive bit of kit, and almost just as quickly as it got down there and put the backup ready to launch that missile, very quickly it'll put it down and come back again at some speed along this track on this rugged terrain in northern Finland. Well, as you can tell by the snow falling around me, it is very cold in Lapland in the north of Finland. This is supposed to be the high season. It's May, but yet it is absolutely freezing. I'm standing in front of a Swedish Archer howitzer weapon. These are incredibly mobile, designed to set up, unfold, put that big stalk out and fire and drive off all within the space of 2 minutes. Now, the UK has 14 of these that they bought from the Swedes last year. They were fired here in Finland for the first time last November. These weapons can strike precision targets as far away as 50 kilometres, that's 31 miles. They cost about £3.5 million each. And what's really fascinating is some of the Swedish forces this morning have told me how the lessons learned from the war in Ukraine, where drones now become so prevalent, means that staying highly mobile on the battlefield using something like that has become more important than ever. They've told me that driving one of those things is incredibly difficult compared to driving a road car. First of all, you're going over what is quite unstable terrain, made worse by the snow falling around everyone in this part of the Arctic Circle. And also the wheels at the front don't turn, it's the wheels at the back that turn, and that makes it a very weird sensation to drive. This M270 has a 3-man crew. Just talk me through the process, start to finish, from when you get the order to fire to a rocket coming out of the top of that machine there.
So the battery command post will get the mission from the FDC, and then they'll filter it down to us, so they'll send it over the net, and I'll be sat in there as the DC with my logbook open, and I'll be sitting there taking the mission down, so the grid, the altitude, the amount of ammunition, the fuse trajectories. Once that's all in, we'll drive to the position firing point, we'll get on the firing point, make sure we're within tolerances for slope, not crested by trees or buildings, anything like that. Then we'll press lay onto the target, so the LLM will lay onto the target itself like so, and then we'll just wait for the command word of command fire.
And what's the type of range that this weapon can hit?
Max range is 84 kilometres. So gone are the days of firing, sitting in one place in a hide with all your vehicles there, going out to a firing point, coming back. Due to the capability of the enemy and their deep fires missiles as well. We're now reverting to like a lot of manoeuvrability, so going from one place, unmasking, going to the next place, unmasking, and you can be driving quite a large distance. And we've got to obviously keep that replen going.
What strikes me is the precision of how these things operate, and those drones are used to scout out any positions. It could be positions the British Army or Allied forces want to move on to, but also enemy positions. And we know how important drones of all types, of surveillance drones, of unmanned drones that have missiles and bombs attached to them, have become in Ukraine. And it's this sort of innovation that all NATO allies are pursuing, and as we can see here, the British Army is at the forefront of that. So we've seen you there demonstrate how these drones can move very precisely, used to scout out any positions. Can you just talk a bit about the importance of that and how you're able to do it so well?
Well, obviously we're well trained on the drones now. It's quite a new concept to the British Army anyway, but we just find it useful. Like we can use it in any scenario really. We've been using it as getting the drones up in the area, finding a spot in general, and then we can send the recce in to go and find a more detailed spot for the launchers to get into. So
No, absolutely.
it saves a lot of time really. That's the main thing, time's essence.